So yeah, I hope that this time you can hear me okay and you guys are feeling okay and ready to get a little bit of information on abbreviations. And because we are so interested in making your level of English a bit better and closer to sounding like a native. All right, so my name is Kate and I'm here today as a part of Language School to share some bits and bobs and some interesting information with you. Okay, so we're talking about abbreviation and in particular the three types of abbreviation that I would like for you to be able to differentiate and learn more about. So let's have a look. Let's get the ball rolling. Now, okay, first question is, what is an abbreviation? Abbreviation is a shortened version of a word or phrase, which I'm sure you have heard before many times, like for example, OMG, just oh my god, or LOL, just laughing out loud. And you have definitely encountered that in chats and social networks as well as spoken language. All right, now the next question that I really want you to learn how to say, let's say, is how to actually ask if you don't understand what an abbreviation means. So what kind of verb can we use and how can we ask correctly? And the correct variant is, what does it stand for? All right, so what does it stand for? For example, what does BBQ stand for? It stands for barbecue, right? So that's the correct verb to use if you're not sure what an abbreviation means. And yeah, as you might have already noticed, English is a pretty abbreviated language and they like using abbreviations quite often. Good. Now let's have a closer look at three different types of abbreviations. And before I actually tell you what the difference is, I would like for you guys to come up with the, let's say, the difference or the idea for yourself first. Okay, so let's have a look at type 1. These are FYI, ATM, UFO. I'm not going to go into detail a lot, so we will talk about that a bit later, what they actually stand for. Now the second group would be NATA, PIN, ZIP, okay? And the third group is ADD, PIX, and INFO. All right, now let's try to understand what the difference is and what actually makes them sound a little bit different from each other. Now, the first type, as you might have noticed, these are the first letters of the words, right? So we have basically, in this case, 3 words. The initials are taken only, and the initials are pronounced only, right? So we're saying FYI. We're not saying it as the whole word. So this is why this kind of abbreviation is called initialism. Yeah, I know, what a term. Yeah, I will do my best not to really bore you with the terms and linguistic terminology, but this is just for your general information. FYI, this is called initialism. Right, now let's have a look at the second category. These are NATA, PIN. Like, what makes them different from the first is that they are actually pronounced as a word, right? So these are initials taken from different words, so 3 or 4 words, and then pronounced as one word. So we're not actually saying NATO, right? We're saying NATA and PIN. And this kind of abbreviation is called acronym. So these are the acronyms that function as a separate word, let's say. Now, the third one, I guess, is pretty easy. And as you see, these are the shortenings. So when the beginning or an end of a word is dropped, and it just makes the word shorter, all right? So an ad is a shortened form of an advertisement. Well, pics are pictures and info is definitely information. So, and then you probably you're asking yourself like, oh, what the hell? Why do we need these abbreviations? Why make the life so complicated? Well, guys, had there been no abbreviations, the conversation would have been so much lengthier, far lengthier, and more boring, and well, not that easy, let's say. So can you imagine, for example, your colleague coming up to you and saying, "Hey buddy, do you have that compact disc read-only memory?" I'd be like, "What? You mean CD-ROM?" So, right, sometimes it is very needed to make the language more precise, to make it crisp and sound much easier. So, let's have a closer look into the 3 types of abbreviations with some examples. By the way, the examples that I would like to give you are not the ones that you have already seen so many times all over the place, like OMG or LOL, right? So I've decided to choose some offbeat ones, a little bit different and very, very common in the Western world that I myself, again, have heard so many times and have come across in chats and, well, just internet communication with my friends. Alrighty, so the first is, these are the first type, but spoken. So some of them are actually used only in the written form, and some of them are spoken. Like, for example, by the way, yeah, so we don't say BTW. No, we don't do that. But we can easily say FYI. So, which you probably know stands for your information, right? And we use this one. We will want to share some additional information with the person, or to share some useful or juicy piece of information. And let's say it is very common for emails and notes and messages, especially as a headline. All right, for FYI, the meeting has been postponed to next week. Okay, let's move on. The next one is ETA, which is estimated time of arrival. And this doesn't only concern shipment or parcels or packages. We can also use this one about a person. So what's your ETA? Which means, when are you coming? When are you going to be here? The next one is TBD, TBA, and TBC. What are those? All right, you probably heard that. So that's to be determined, to be announced, or to be confirmed. All right, so this is about the future action, something that is not clear yet, and it should be done shortly. Okay, so the conference will be held in January, location TBA. So it's going to be announced. We don't know yet. Okay, now the next one is RSVP. You could have seen that one in our Outlook Messenger when someone invites you for a meeting and then they ask you to reply. Yeah, so basically, please reply to an invitation, or please reply to the message and let us know whether you're coming or not. Now, you're probably wondering, like, what does please reply have to do with RSVP, which is actually 4 letters and supposedly 4 words? Well, it's a French abbreviation, which comes from French, and it should sound like "Répond s'il vous plaît." Gosh, so I do not speak French, never studied that, so excuse my French, they say. Yeah, so they asked us to RSVP by Friday. Good. Now let's move on. Next one is PTO, which I'm sure you saw before in our, let's say, correspondence, in our web correspondence, or heard in SoftServe. PTO is something happy, right? It's something to do with the vacation, but I've noticed that not everyone knows what it actually stands for. So PTO stands for paid time off. Yes, and we can say, I've got 8 days of PTO in my job. Okay, now the next one is HQ. You're probably aware of this one. That's headquarters. And for example, there is going to be a staff party at HQ next week. Now, HQ is the main office of the company, right? That's the one where the whole, the administration takes place, and all the other things. Next one is DUI. Now, this one is totally unrelated to work and refers to some offense, which is driving under the influence. And this is actually, yeah, driving under the influence. It's not drive. Don't get me wrong. I'm not prompting you into doing it. Just a little bit of a typo. So, for example, he was arrested for DUI, which means that he was drink driving. Yeah, and that's a big offense. And I heard this expression, this abbreviation used many times abroad. So you better be aware of it and never do it. Okay. OH, so this is not O, this is actually OH, so 2 letters, 2 words, which mean other half. So who's that other half? Well, that's your partner or your SOP, as they sometimes say as well, which is significant other person. Girlfriend, wife, husband, whoever. But again, very common in modern language, they would be saying, what's your OH doing tonight? Yeah, my OH and I are just going to the movies. Yeah, well, a bit maybe impersonal, but sounds a bit interesting. Anyway, AKA, which is also known as, used for someone's nicknames or let's say some stage names. For example, I will never buy coffee at that evil empire, aka Starbucks. Yeah, so as we can see, a person is not very excited about Starbucks, and yeah, too commercialized, too widespread, still hasn't entered Ukraine. So AKA, also known as. Now, SUV, this is a term connected with vehicles, right? Stands for Sports Utility Vehicle. It's a quite a big car, usually with a 4-wheel drive. Initially used for rough roads or off-roading, but in some countries that could be also the sign of status, right? So SUV, driving an SUV in the winter is really comfortable. So this is probably something that we would call a crossover. Yeah, good. All right, now BYO or BYOB. This also doesn't have anything to do with work. So bring your own booze. Now, what is booze? That would be alcohol. Bring your own alcohol. That's more of a restaurant term, or let's say party term. And for example, that could be like party starts at 8, BYOB. So you are more than welcome to bring your own alcohol. Now in Australia, for example, they do not really use the last B. They would be saying BYO, especially like when you are passing the restaurants and you can see it written on the, let's say on the door or on the window, BYO. Because the license for alcohol is quite expensive, so they allow people to bring their own booze and just to have fun. What they might though do is charge you for corkage, which is opening the bottle. Yeah, and usually that's just the cost of one bottle, good wine bottle, like $20 or something. Yeah, so BYO, that's the one. TMI. Well, this is a more funny one, but I just wanted to share it with you because it's becoming more and more popular in modern conversations today. And that means too much information. So when you feel like your opponent is kind of telling you too much of juicy or embarrassing facts about them spending last night with their girlfriend, or I don't know, consequences of hangover. So you would be like, oh, TMI, man. Why did you have to tell me that? How am I supposed to erase it from my brain? So, you know, there's situations when sometimes you feel like you're overloaded with information that wasn't supposed to be shared with you. Good. This is pretty much it. Let's talk about the written ones. I'm not really going to go into examples, just the abbreviation of what it stands for, right? So BRB, which is be right back. DOB, just date of birth. You can often see that in the questionnaires when you're asked to fill out the information about yourself, right? Now, BF is boyfriend and BFF is best friends forever. And I saw that written pretty many times, like this is my BFF and I had really great time. Now, COB or EOD, you might have encountered that, probably came across in our business correspondence, so close of business or end of day. So you better submit it EOD, yeah, by the end of the day. Now, Okay, LMAO is not a very decent kind of expression, but I really wanted you to know it because it's really widespread and really widely used. So that means laugh my off. Okay, so which is like, oh, that's hilarious. That's really, really funny. Yeah, and they just write it with capital letters, but could also be written with small letters. Yeah. See ya. See you later. Definitely seen this one. So we're just substituting the whole word with one letter. Yes, ATM. Like I told you, it could be automatic teller machine where you withdraw money from, but it could also mean at the moment. So like busy ATM. All right, AFK. I guess it's very familiar for all the IT people. Yeah, away from keyboard. Sorry, couldn't answer your phone call or your Skype call. I was AFK. Now, let's talk about acronyms and look at some of the examples here. So the first one is NATA, just to make sure that you pronounce it correctly. And all right, so anyway, NATA stands for North American Treaty Organization. All right, and not everyone usually knows what it actually means. Now, NASA, this is how you pronounce it, stands for National Aeronautical and Space Administration. Then we have PIN, which is Personal Identification Number. And we have ZIP, which is Zone Improvement Plan. ZIP is actually a passcode, or let's say the code for your area that lets you, that is very important when you fill out the information about your address, okay? Now, this one is a really interesting one because sometimes it does function as an initialism, and we say ASAP, but very often it is actually an acronym and you pronounce it as ASAP. All right, so that would be the whole word, ASAP, and which means as soon as possible. Now, RAM is the one that you IT people know very well, I'm pretty sure, which is random access memory. All right, and we are coming to the last one here is SCUBA. So you might be actually surprised that the SCUBA is an acronym, and it stands for Self-Contained Underwater Breathing Apparatus. What is scuba diving is when you're wearing the specific equipment just to see the underwater world, right? Good. So the third part shortening is going to be the security part, guys. And I'm going to post this to share with you my presentation and to ask you to have a look at it on your own. I'm also going to send you a link on a list of abbreviations that are used in written correspondence, which I guess you might find pretty amusing. So I gotta be wrapping up today, and sorry again for this technical inconveniences, but I hope that you found this presentation useful. And yeah, please have a look at the one that I'm going to share. And you guys have a good day, and it was very great. I was very happy to be with you today. Thank you. Bye-bye.